I've been using the original Molekule Air for over a year now, and Molekule just came out with the Molekule Air Pro that has a lot of improvements. So in this video, we're gonna be opening up this new latest and greatest Molekule. I'll be showing you guys the differences, all the upgrades they have made, and kind of giving a follow-up to the original and all of the benefits, and then maybe some of the downsides that have now been updated. And Molekule reached out to me and wanted to sponsor this video and have me take a look at the latest model. And this one actually, one of the big selling points is how much air it can move and how much it can filter. Now, some of you guys may know that we are building a new home, and it's going to be an open concept kitchen and main living space and dining room. And I did the math on that one, and it's gonna be about 900 to 950 square feet, where this new Molekule Air Pro could do up to 1,000, so it's gonna be perfect for that room. All right, right out of the box, we have this nice bag right here that it comes in, and this thing is definitely larger. I guess it makes sense that it's so large because it filters close to twice as much air in the same amount of time. It can fit much larger spaces. At the top of the box, we have this quick setup instructions here, which I'll go through and show you guys. And we have the user manual. Let's go ahead and set this aside, and let's get into the Molekule Air Pro. Before we get into the review, let's compare it to the original Molekule. As you guys can see, the height is about the same. They look similar overall. They both look very nice and premium compared to most air filters out there, but the diameter is quite a bit larger. And one of the big changes in the new Pro and how we can filter so much more air is the new filtration system and the fan that's a little bit higher too. So with the original Molekule, you lift up like this, and then you have access to the pre-filter here at the bottom. And then you can access the Pico filter, which is what actually kills viruses, VOCs, instead of just trapping them. Now, the new Air Pro, lift this up. This is really heavy. Wow, the fan's actually built into this piece. We can pull out the filter here. And as you guys can see, this is now a combo filter. So we have the pre-filter on the outside here. It has much more volume. And then the Pico filter is on the inside, and then it will actually light up to activate the coatings that are on here. Molekule's Pico technology is patented, and it destroys viruses, bacteria, mold, allergens, and chemicals in the air. And that's how Molekule stands out from most of the other air filters. That's what really attracted me in the first place to the Molekules, because they actually look nice in your house. They're built nicely with aluminum and nice plastic. Both of these use the same exact technology, so they'll both get the job done. And if you don't need the extra coverage that the Air Pro will give you, you can go for the original Molekule, or maybe even one of the mini ones, so they have less expensive, smaller options for smaller rooms. But with that said, even if you don't have a room that's, like we're going to be putting this one into, about 1,000 square feet, you can still have lots of benefits. For example, at the quietest setting, the Air Pro actually is quieter than the Air, and then at its loudest setting, it's also quieter, even though it moves much more air. And on top of that, the original Air does have an auto setting, but the newer one has 6 different fan speeds, and it has 2 automatic settings that will actually look at particles in your air, both large ones, medium-sized ones, and even tiny ones such as smoke, and it will adjust the speed based on how much particles are in your air, which is very nice. Now, recently in Spokane, we had horrible smoke in the air. The air quality was above 400. We smelled smoke everywhere. I was getting headaches when I would be outside, and in those situations, it's so nice to have one of these. And we actually have some friends. One of our friends, she is pregnant, and she was actually going to leave out of town and go drive to her mom's and stay there while her husband stayed and worked, just because of the smoke. And so we actually let her borrow ours, and they were super happy. They said the air was amazing inside of their little rental house, and the Molekule did a fantastic job. They had no smoke there whatsoever. There's a few other differences between the original and the Air Pro. First off, as you guys can see, at the top here, the display is much larger. Both are touchscreen displays, and you can just come up and you can get some info. With the larger display, it's nicer as well. and we get a lot more information. I really like being able to see the particulars where it actually shows up on here. And then of course, with both of these, you can actually get the information that they can give you, and you can adjust both of them using your smartphone. So you don't have to walk up to it to actually see and change settings. It could be done really easily on the app. And the app will also remind you when it's time to change out the filters, and those could be automatically shipped to your house. A minor difference is that the original Air has this little pre-filter, and that pre-filter needs to be swapped out every 3 months, and then the main Pico filter is swapped every 6 months, so you have more swapping going on. As with the Air Pro, that one has an all-in-one unit, so once every 6 months, it's quicker and more simple, easier to swap that out. And a big benefit of that larger pre-filter around the Pico filter is that it's gonna do a much quicker job at filtering the air. You don't have to set it to a higher setting. It could be quiet and still do it much more quickly. I saw some comparisons against the original one where they tested the original Molekule against a larger filter that has a much larger HEPA element that doesn't destroy things like viruses and VOCs and bacteria, and they just complained about how long it took, and that in a half hour it didn't filter as much air as the bigger units. That makes sense, and with this new one you have a much larger element around the Pico filter. The way that we use is we keep it plugged in all the time, so we don't just plug it in for a half hour and leave it. We leave it on a quiet setting, and then it just does the job, and then the air quality is great. And now let's get into who should buy a Molekule. Well, the first thing that I want to mention is if you want to get an air filter that is going to destroy things and kill viruses and bacteria and mold instead of just trapping them, that is a main standout feature, and Molekule's Pico technology is patented. So that right there is a big deal. Now the second big deal, and I think a lot of reason why a lot of us like the Molekules, is how they look. It's a premium product. We have solid aluminum. It blends into your house. If you want it to look nice and look premium, it looks great. So not only will filter your air, it'll destroy all the things with the Pico filter, it will look good while doing so. So that's definitely a standout feature, where most air filters on the market, they do not look good. Now with that, it's definitely not a cheap product. It is a premium product, and along with the design and the ability to destroy viruses and everything else, you also have the nice touchscreen on the top that's giving you info. You have app control, so all those kind of things are built in, and that's also what you get with the higher price point. The original Molekule has done a fantastic job at our house. We definitely noticed the differences. And then after allergy season was over and there wasn't a ton of pollen and everything else in the air, we moved it to our kids' bedroom. It's been doing a great job. As I mentioned, we shared it with some friends that did a fantastic job there. And the new Air Pro, it's the same thing, but better in pretty much every way. It's quieter, better fan speeds, automatic based on the actual particles that are in your air. You have more info and feedback from it, and it can filter a lot more air in a much bigger room and do it quicker as well, especially if you have in a smaller sized room. It's going to be able to filter that air much more often. So if you guys want to get more info on the new Molekule Air Pro or the older ones or even the mini ones, check out the link down in the video description. And I want to point out that Molekule didn't tell me what to say or what not to say, other than don't make any false claims. Just give your experience with it, which is what I've done in the previous video and in this one. So let me know your thoughts down below. Is this a nice upgrade? Do they add some features that you're looking for? And I think that's it. Maybe in the future, a year from now, we might do another follow-up video. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.